When I say tools, for example, if we are talking about cloud-based technology, we are talking about one, let's say AWS. So AWS is having its own tool. For example, it will be having Lambda function, it will be having Athena and more. When we are talking about Azure, which is again a competitor to AWS and again a cloud-based technology, it will be having its own set of tools. My name is Puneet. I'm born and brought up in Rajpura, Punjab, and currently I'm working as a business intelligence engineer at Amazon. I'm having more than 4 years of experience in this role, and where I've worked as data analytics professional as well as in data engineering roles. What are the key skills for data analytics? One is SQL and NoSQL. So must-have skill as part of data analytics are SQL, one, then is data visualization tool, second, and third is critical thinking, third. These are the key skills. I mean, I'm talking about very basics, that these are must-have skills. You should be having these skills. Without this, you don't have any future with data analytics. So one is SQL and NoSQL. So here I'm talking about structured data as well as semi-structured or non-structured data. So semi-structured and non-structured data will be covered in NoSQL part. So you should be having very good grip over the SQL, be it data engineering role, be it data analytics role, or be it data scientist role. You will see all of these three people are having very good understanding of the SQL and how the SQL executor is processing the SQL statements. And then the other thing is the programming language. Now, I'm not talking about you need to learn all of the three programming language, but you should be having a basic understanding of either Python or R or MATLAB. And then the visualization tool. So you need to be very selective in deciding what kind of visualization tool you want to go with. From my point of view, there are two industry leaders. One is Power BI, another one is Tableau. You can switch with either one of them, but be very mindful, because once you, let's say you opted for Power BI, then you will see the jobs in the market where they are specifically looking for Power BI. That means you will miss out the market where they are looking for Tableau. So do your own personal digging, that what tool suits you, and then decide between Power BI or Tableau. Obviously, there are many other reporting tools available. You can go ahead with them too, but the scale or the visibility of them is fairly limited. And then it is Microsoft Excel. This is one of the basics, but no one tells you that Excel, how important is Excel. You can still do a lot of basic analysis within Excel as compared to when you will load the data in the Excel format to, let's say, database, and then you will try to query. You need to write a lot of SQL statements to understand one part, whereas in Excel you will be able to able to make use of pivot table just to get that analysis. So be mindful where you are investing time while doing the analysis, because in the end you will be having a limited amount of time to do it. Obviously, critical thinking is one of the crucial parts where you need to understand what is the business process and how you can generate a meaningful insight for the business. You can generate 10 different insights, but that might not be helping the business overall. So in order to understand how important a particular insight is, you need to be mindful that if you are thinking of business terms or not. And then there is mathematics and statistics. So mathematics and statistics majorly is biased towards the data scientist professional, but even having said that, the basic mathematics and statistics, if I'm talking about averages, sums, right, max, minimum, so you should be having those basic understanding, not widely used though. And then in the end, it's communication. I'll cover up this communication part in the end, but let me tell you that to get a job in the data analytics professional, I'm not saying that you need to have all of these points. You can have a combination of it. So there are three things which are the basics. One is SQL. You should be having SQL, right? Other one is visualization tool. Now, visualization, you can do it with Python or a data visualization tool, both of them. Now, proven strategies for a data analytics tool, right? One is, whenever you are working on any of the projects for data analytics, right, either be it your personal project, just have clear objectives in mind. What you want to do, why you want to do, what kind of insights it will be, and how these insights will be applicable in real world application, right? So if you have these questions answered with you, I think you should be good with the very first point, that is define clear objectives, right? Then data storage and management. Like I'm telling you, Kaggle is a free website, but you will only find a data set, subset of a data set or a data set itself, which won't be live connection. Now, if you are okay with, if you are working on a personal project, I think you should be okay with this Kaggle website as a source of data. Otherwise, if you are working on, you are already a working professional and still you want to create a project, what I'll suggest is you should go for live connections. For example, if you want to do cricket data analysis, right? So you should be able to connect your data or extract the data using Python or any other tool, or maybe using Power BI also you can extract the data, and then you should do the analysis so that once you refresh your report, your data should be live every time. So these kind of reports, once they are prepared, will be live. You can even show this report after 5 years, 7 years, and they still be showing the live data, which is a really good thing to have, because you won't be coming across questions like, Puneet, this data set was valid till 2023. Now it is 2028, right? It is an older analysis, come with some new projects. You don't need to answer these kind of questions because your data is a live connection. And then third is data exploration and processing. The data exploration part involves, understanding the data. So whenever I go to Kaggle and I download a data set, most of the times I don't have any idea what data set is going to be. Only after looking into the columns and what kind of records they have, what can be or should be the unique key in that particular data set, I get to know more about it. That this is the type of data set where you have, let's say, credit card transactions related data. For each of the transaction, if I'm getting one record, or per day for a particular user, for the complete transaction, I'm getting one record. So that kind of understanding I can only have if I'm exploring the data and then understanding the data. Then fourth point, we already discussed somehow, that choosing the right tools for data visualization. So sometimes you have a lot of tools for data visualization. When I say tools, for example, if we are talking about cloud-based technology, we are talking about one, let's say AWS. So AWS is having its own tool. For example, it will be having Lambda function, it will be having Athena and more. When we are talking about Azure, which is again a competitor to AWS and again a cloud-based technology, it will be having its own set of tools. So choosing the right platform, usually for example, if I have opted for Azure connection in this case, and then I am trying to make use of Tableau, if I'm given an option with between Power BI and Tableau, that might not be a wiser choice, because Power BI is a Microsoft product. So if I'm using the cloud-based technology as a Microsoft product, the recommendation is you should also choose reporting tool as a Microsoft product, because the compatibility will be a lot more easier, and Power BI will be able to offer you features which you might not get with the Tableau in this data setting, right? So choose your data visualization tool wisely. It can also depend on performance of a particular tool. Even the database which you are selecting, it also depends on if you want to store the data in huge volume. Let's say if you want to do historical analysis, then you do want to store the data in huge volumes, right? So are you good with compromising on speed? That is one question you should be asking yourself first, and then to the business. Are they comfortable with compromising on speed? Because you are opting for a data set which will be able to store data in huge volumes. So obviously speed will be somehow compromised. Otherwise, if you don't want to compromise on speed, as well as you want to store big data, then you should go for cloud connections, which are a bit pricey. Are they comfortable with prices also? That is another question. And third is, if they want speed, they don't want to compromise on speed, and let's say they don't want to store historical data, that means you just have transactional data with you. Then what kind of data set, database you choose, for example, then in this particular case, SQL Server will do the job, right? A basic traditional database will do the job, because you don't have a lot of historical records, you just have transactional records, and you don't want to compromise on speed. All right. Choosing the right tools for data visualization, as well as the complete set. I'm not only talking about reporting, but also about the database which you are making use of. Then scalability and infrastructure. Whatever tool which you are making use of, are they scalable? It's recommended that they should be scalable, in the sense that in future, if you are having millions of records, it should work ideally as same as if it is having 100 of records, right? Scalability and infrastructure is again an important point which you should be mindful about before preparing this project, right? And regular reporting and monitoring. So your data should not be like someone reaching out to you to ask you that, Puneet, I need this particular data now, and then you refresh the report. It should be an automatic loop. That means once you have prepared your project, you don't need to bother about it anymore. That kind of loop. Then feedback loops is mostly with respect to business. You should be taking a continuous feedback from the business on the improvement in order to better your product. If you're not taking a feedback, down the line, your reporting, whatever report which you have prepared, might not be relevant. For example, business was making use of certain process in the year 2012. However, in 2020, they completely flipped the process, and now your report is still reporting whatever the numbers were there from 2012 year onwards, right? So because you haven't taken a feedback of it, so you don't know that the business has flipped completely and you need to make changes in the report. So always have a feedback loop structure in your reports. And then this is continuous learning and improvement. For example, when I entered into this industry, I had no idea about how AWS or the cloud computing work. Now, after I guess 2.5 years, I focused into AWS, and then I got to know what are caveats or trade-offs in that particular tool is. So it's a continuous learning tool. Down the line, there might be another big tool which will be a complete game changer. So I need to learn that too, right? So that is a trade-off in this particular. I guess this is a trade-off with any of the industry you talk about. You need to learn over and over again.